Our next topic is about Adams' equity theory. Adams' equity theory is named for John Stacy Adams, a workplace and behavioral psychologist who developed his job motivation theory in 1963. Adams devised his equity theory on the basis that when your employee feels like you're treating them in an advantageous way, they're more likely to be motivated to work hard. Their morale is high and they're full of energy. And on the flip side, when one of your employees feels like you're treating them unfairly, they're more prone to demotivation because they don't feel satisfied. To understand Adams' equity theory in full, we need to first define inputs, outputs, and equity. Inputs are defined as those things that an individual does in order to receive an output. They are the contribution the individual makes to the organization. Inputs typically include the commitment shown, the loyalty the individual has demonstrated to superiors or the organization, the responsibilities and duties of the individual in the role, effort or the number of hours worked, and the enthusiasm shown. While outputs, sometimes referred to as outcomes, are the result an individual receives as a result of their inputs to the organization. Outputs typically include recognition, financial rewards such as salary and bonus, promotion, growth, and learning. Now that we understand inputs and outputs, we're in a position to define equity. Equity is defined as an individual's outputs divided by that same person's inputs. Equity simply means fairness and access to the same opportunities. Here we have a sample of equity theory in the workplace. As you can see in the example, someone is comparing their own compensation and effort against someone else's. Although comparing compensation is the most common comparator, other typical forms of comparison include comparing learning opportunities or comparing opportunities to work from home. In essence, the equity theory of motivation proposes that high levels of employee motivation in the workplace can only be achieved when each employee perceives their treatment to be fair relative to others. Employees will compare themselves to other groups, both inside and outside of the organization. In doing so, they will compare the total of all inputs against the total of all outputs. If they perceive unfairness, they will adjust their inputs to compensate, working more or working less, depending on if their situation is positive or negative relative to the group or person being compared.
Created using Powtoon.